Good evening to all of you. So today what we will do is we will continue our discussion from where we stopped. We were talking about, so Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, we all are aware right now. So we know that he talks about how to basically tune up the mind, right? So mind is the root cause for all the problems or the sorrow or distress, all these things. How that is happening? Because of the external environment, because of the sense organs that we have. You can hear me, right? Yeah. Yeah, so because of the sense organs and everything, we are collecting so much data inside, and then we have certain determinative faculty inside the brain. So we call it the chitta bhumi or mind field. So mind field will tell this is right, this is not right, I like this, I don't like this, I like this person, I don't like this person, and then based on that, so basically so many thought flows will start, and these thought flows will basically not let the real swarupa, the real nature of the chitta to be there. It will basically work on top of it, right? So because of that, there will be so much of disturbances will come into play, right? So then we talked about how to get out of this, that is through continuous abhyasa and vairagya. So you should get out of this excitement factor. You should not keep liking something and always go back and have, strong desires for things. So you need to go beyond that, and that going beyond that part of it, you need to practice on a continuous prolonged basis. That is important, right? So when you go on these things, so then we talked about what is vairagya, what is abhyasa, right? Then we talked about what are the states of samadhi, right? Object-oriented meditation is there, then no object-oriented meditation, then actually you come to the samadhi state, right? Then we talked about what are these different states. So then we came to, okay, what are the challenges to do your meditation? Then we said, it can be a disease, it can be lack of perseverance, it can be doubt, indecision. Oh, right. Power went off. Just give me a second. Right. So then we talked about, these are your obstacles to your meditation, right? So living under illusion, you have different mithya ideas, right? And not knowing what is truth, right? And then missing the point. After some time, you start doing yoga, and then you become an exercise instructor, something like that, right? So you started doing yoga, but then you end up with becoming a exercise instructor or somebody like that, right? So missing the whole point why you started yoga itself, right? Then we talked about, yeah. So we said dukkha daurmanasya angame jayatva swasa prashvasaha vikshepa sahabhuvaha, meaning sorrow, despair, unsteadiness of the body, and irregular breathing will also distract your chitta, right? Then going from there, today we will talk about, so they basically it concluded saying adherence to single mindedness, right, prevents these impediments. So you need to bring the mind to one-pointedness. So from here onwards, we are trying to understand what are the simple ways of bringing the mind to one point, right? Okay, so starting from Sutra 33 today. So we said Maitri, we actually talked about this as well. So Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, Sukha, Dukkha, Punya, Punya, Vishayanam, Bhavanataha, Chitta Prasadanam. So how to bring the Chitta Prasadanam, the pleasantness in Chitta through Bhavana is through the Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, Sukha, Dukkha, Punya, Apunya. So what is Maitri? Is friendliness, right? Karuna, compassion, mercy. Mudita, be glad with what you have. Upekshana. Upeksha is always the middle pointedness, right? Going, you don't like something too much, you don't hate something too much, right? The middle path. Then Sukha Dukkha. Sukha is happiness, Dukkha is sorrow. Punya Apunya, right? Vishya regarding us. So, about something, you have to have friendliness, compassion, gladness, be indifferent, happiness, sorrow. So all these things need to come into play, right? Good. Right. Then we talked about prachara dhana vidharanabhyam va pranasya. This is something that you know, right? So we can bring the pleasantness of the mind through going through this, having friendliness, compassion, mudita, upeksha. Don't be too attached with the sukha, don't be too attached with the dukkha, punya, apunya, go beyond all of this. O, so B is O. O, by maintaining the pensive state felt at the time of soft and steady exhalation and during passive retention after exhalation. Now, what is this? So, this is the whole point in yoga. One of the limbs is pranayama, right? One of the limbs in yoga is pranayama. Why? Because that also helps you to bring the mind to one-pointedness and bring the pleasantness in your mind. Let me give you a good example to this. So, maybe after an exam, maybe once you get something that you have been urging for some time, maybe when the one you voted has won, right? Or maybe something bad you thought it will happen, but it did not happen, right? So when all these things happen, what happens in your body? Normally we do a big sigh, right? So when something happens, something like that, we don't do the inhalation, right? We don't do like, oh, that's good, right? Rather, we do exhalation and we are like, ah, fine, right? Even in this WhatsApp and all, now you have this emoji also about sigh, right? So what the sutra says is the same thing. So the chitta prasadanam can be attained through soft and steady exhalation and then passive retention after exhalation. Bahir kumbhaka, right? So retention of breath we call as kumbhaka, right? So kumbhaka practice will also help you to bring the mind to one-pointedness. Do you agree with that? Right? So normally in pranayama practices, we say there are many reasons, but I'll just take two reasons for this. So your exhalation has to be longer than your inhalation, right? The physical or physics answer for that is when you inhale, you balloon up the lungs. And then when you exhale, if you exhale more than you inhale, actually, then the next inhalation would be better. You would be able to suck in more air through the nose because this is fully flat now. The lungs are fully flat. Now you want to inhale and then basically the lungs will be full. That is one reason. Number two reason is you inhale with an effort, right? So you inhalation is an effort like that. And then your exhalation is what you actually keep your mind upon, right? So when you inhale, like that, you can exhale. You can just exhale. But when you exhale gradually, keeping the mind on your exhalation, right? With the control of your exhalation, basically your whole thinking or your chitta comes to one-pointedness with that exhalation. When you do that exhalation and then retain in the exhalation, now when we normally retain in the exhalation, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, likewise. So even that counting, meaning you are at certain one-pointed behavior in your chitta, right? So initial is why you sigh after anything, right? Because when something bad happens, you don't sigh, you inhale. So your breath count goes faster, your heartbeat rises up, all these things happen. But when it comes to something pleasant happens to you, something good happens to you, always, okay, thank God, right? So that is the point where we remember even to thank the God, right? So basically that is the exhalation part of it. Do you agree? Have you experienced that? Yeah. So always this exhalation gives you the relaxation. So by maintaining the pensive state felt at the time of soft and steady exhalation. Soft. So soft is not this, right? When Kapalabhati, what you do is not soft exhalation. That is rapid exhalation. That's not what we're talking about. We talk about the soft exhalation, what we practice in Dirgha Swasa, right? Then soft and steady. Steady is, it can't be like, fast and small, slow pace. No, it's a steady all around, right? So soft and steady exhalation and passive retention after exhalation will help you to bring the mind at one point and retain them. Right? So that is one more method. So we talked about one method in 33rd Sutra. So this is bringing the mind, how you look at things, make it different. You see somebody, you don't like that person. You see somebody on the TV, it start melting your blood. No, you just, be indifferent. That's okay. That person is stupid, right? There's no medicine for stupidity. Let it go, right? Or you don't even have to judge that person as stupid. Yeah, let him do his thing. Let me do my thing. That's very simple as that, right? And be glad. Be glad not because that person is talking on the TV. Be glad that you have a TV to watch, right? You have TV to watch, you have electricity, you have this, that, and the other. You have to be glad. So right now, I had power all over the day today. So I was really happy in the morning. Today, no power cuts. But soon as I start the class, the power cut. But I was prepared. So I have a UPS running, I have a light in front of me, and I have batteries charged, everything. So I'm not angry because the power is cut, right? I'm kind of happy because I was prepared. Okay, so so this is basically the how you behave, how you think, how you look things, how you identify things. You need to change the perspective of it, right? Don't be happy when you give an alms saying, I did so much of punya, right? So just give it and let it go. That's fine, right? Just give it, let it go. You don't have to post it, you don't have to say it, you don't have to announce it to people. And no, just do it, let it go. Go to the next one, right? So that is changing the perspective of the mind. And that is one method to bring the pleasantness in the mind. And bringing that pleasantness in the mind will help you to bring the mind to one-pointedness. Second method is by maintaining. So second method, Patanjali talks about the breath. So not the mind now. So basically you inhale and exhale. So exhalation is steady, soft, and then you retain after exhalation, kumbhaka. That will also help you to bring the mind to one-pointedness. So this is why in any yoga class, before we start, right, we chant the Omkara while exhalation, right? So if you chant the Omkara every day while exhalation, you know how long the breath can go, right? You actually monitor. You monitor your ah, you monitor your oo, you monitor your right? So whatever the situation you were, you could have been, after office under so much of traffic or after office meeting, so you are coming to the yoga class. So that's why we take a break by chanting the Omkara. How you chant the Omkara is through the exhalation, or we take a couple of deep inhale and exhalation, right? Why? Because that helps you to bring the pleasantness in the mind, to get away from the previous old situations that you are facing and come to a new chapter, right, in your mind. So that is method number 2. Let's go to method number 3. So method number 3 says, so Vishayavati va pravrittihi utpanna manasaha sthiti nibandhani. Vishayanti va pravrittihi utpanna manasaha sthiti nibandhani. So you know one word here. What is va? O, right? In the previous one also we are talking this, or this likewise, right? What is utpanna? Utpanna is being born. Upan. You know, manasaha, mind. Sthiti. Sthiti dandasana. Right? So that's the same. State. Sthiti state. Right? Nibandhani, origin. Right? Nibandhani. Right. So let's look at the meaning. So, Vishayavati, attached to an object, or pravritti, moving onwards, progressing or contemplating upon something born or produced in the mind. So basically stay in that state. So the meaning is, by contemplating an object that helps to maintain steadiness, by becoming totally engrossed with dedication and devotion to the present moment of the mind. So, which means, so what it says is basically, by contemplating on an object. So the best example I can give you here is, so when you are in distress or something, so looking at a statue may help you calm down. Looking at a particular tree will help you calm down. Looking at the sky will help you calm down. Looking at water will help you calm down, right? So looking at. What if we look at what we are looking at? Now, what is that? Right? Look at what you are looking at, meaning observe the mind. Start observing the mind. So, I am in distress. So, one thing I do, my personal practice is, sometimes when I'm in distress, I have certain pictures to look at. I have certain statues to look at. You can talk with your statue, no problem. The statue will not answer back or backfire and saying you are talking stupid. Right? Shut up. Statue will not say that. A tree will not say that. A picture will not say that. They'll keep on listening. So no problem. That is our problem. Nobody is listening to us. Right? So those things will listen to you. Keep on listening 24 hours at a stretch. They don't get tired, even if you get tired. Right? So what happens is, when we are in distress or something, when we want the pleasantness in the mind, we look at something, then we look at another thing, we look at another thing. Patanjali says, yes, do that. Find an object which will help you calm down your mind. But on the same time, why don't you look at what you are looking at? Meaning, just observe the mind. Observe the mind. Okay, I am in distress. So I look at this particular statue. I feel good. Okay. Now what does my mind say? Oh, my mind runs to some place where this particular statue is, maybe a temple. Now that temple, now your mind again runs to a place where some incident happened when you went to the temple. Then somebody said something, you saw monkeys, you saw elephants, all these things. So now your mind will start going on. So what you should do is, at that point, you should observe how this mind is operating. One thought came and then it died, and another thought was born through that thought. Then it died. Then another thought born through that thought. Then it died. Another new thought born, right? The statue, the temple, the road, the monkey, the elephant, all these are different thoughts coming after one after the other. So Patanjali says, Maintain steadiness. So be totally engrossed. And with dedication and devotion, one is you can have a look at the object, or with this whole total dedication and devotion, observe your own mind. What's happening with the mind, right? Because the biggest problem right now, what's happening is when you are in distress, when you are angry, when your mind is shaken, you never look back at your mind. You keep on focusing on that particular thought, and that particular thought is amplifying to different things. It goes from one to another, and you're focusing on all of these things, right? Then you will hit somebody. What Patanjali said is, that is happening now. That amplification is happening, thought going from one to another is happening. Now you observe that particular activity happening in your mind. You observe, okay, statue comes to my mind. I'm looking at the statue. Along with this statue, now I see different other statues as well. Then my mind identifies this statue is in this place, this statue is in this place, this statue is in this other country. Oh, this other country. What is the first thing comes to your mind? Their ice cream, right? So likewise, the mind is running. You need to observe, my mind first identified this, then it went here, then it went here, then it went here, then it went, now it's talking about a country. But what was I actually looking at? This thing, a statue. So you need to understand this utpanna part of the mind, utpanna part of the manasa, right? The generation, the producing part of manas. Then you will realize at some point, this is what you call as sorrow, right? All the thoughts generating in your mind, right? And pressurizing you for what? What is happening outside right now? Nothing. Sun is coming from east, going down from west. Birds are chirping. Animals are there. Water is there, wind is there, sky is there, right? Everything is normal. Inside your mind, a factory is operating, right? So basically, if you contemplate on your mind, whatever the activity is happening inside your mind, then you will realize this is nonsense, what is happening. You don't have to have any of these things being operated inside your mind. Nothing is important. All this is creating dukkha. That itself will help you to bring the mind to pleasantness of your mind. Will help you do a realization, right? So that is one other method Patanjali is explaining. Is it clear? Yeah, good. Then 36. Another verb is there, meaning oh, right? Another one method is there. Or he is telling, inner stability is gained by contemplating on a luminous or sorrowless or affluent light. What is this luminous, sorrowless, affluent light? Right? For an example, what is light? Right now, you see me is light. Right now, I see you is light. From the moment what I gather, from the moment that I open my eyes, what I gather is light. Illuminating from somebody, something. I don't know whether Varuni exists like this, wearing a green color shirt. I don't know whether Jayanthan exists like this, wearing a blue color shirt. What is blue? I gave a name to that color. Define blue, you can't define blue. Define green, you can't define green. So everything what I gather is basically a light, right? Now, the Patanjali is saying, focus on an affluent light. Where is this affluent light coming from? This is what we say, basically, a sorrowless, meaning when you see a tree, do you feel happy or sorrowful? Happy. Sometimes, yeah, we don't know. So now when you see Sri Mahabodhi, even the sacred bow tree at Anuradhapura, how many of y'all felt immediately when you saw that I need to cut this and plant it at my house? right? You didn't feel that. Or even anybody felt, I don't like it, I need to cut it and let it die. That also you didn't feel. And nobody felt, I need to bring this whole thing and I need to carry it wherever I go. That also you didn't feel. So there are certain objects in this nature that you don't feel raga or dvesha. That you don't. So sometimes when you see your partner, you might feel something, right? It is not a neutral feeling. It may be not a neutral feeling. It may be a neutral feeling, right? But there are certain things. Now, if you see some water, right? So if you are in a desert, if you see some water, you will love it. You will want to live with it, right? But otherwise, in normal day-to-day life, you see some water, right? At the moment you see the water, you don't feel angry, or you don't feel like so happy seeing the water, right? When the wind comes, you don't feel angry with the wind, you don't feel sad with the wind, right? When the sky is there, right, I'm pretty sure any of you haven't felt anything looking at the sky, right? When you see the sky, oh my God, I love the sky, I love it, I like it, I want to keep some part of the sky inside my drawer and all. That was never felt. Actually, no thought came to your mind when you see the sky, unless you are going on a flight and you see the sky under. So that is a nice thing, right? I'm talking about normal, right? So so in this nature, these particular lives that you are getting is sorrowless, right? So this is kind of like the whole energy in the nature. This is where we are living in. So the pranavayu and all these things are there, right? So focus on those things and be happy about it. It will make you feel happy. I don't think anybody will feel angry looking at the sky. Whatever the color of the sky it is, people will feel good, right? So basically what Patanjali is saying is he is not focusing on this whole this external oriented object. What he is telling is you need to focus on the thing which doesn't have a happiness or a sorrowness or in the middle ground. This is the proper meditation. Do that meditation and then you will feel good, right? Always when you think about something, you have two factors, whether I like it or I dislike it, right? Like and dislike. So this comes with the I. I have a feeling that mine, ego, right? Because I identify everything with the I factor, I like it, I don't like it. But when the air is there, is it my air? It's not my air. There's nothing like that, right? You contemplate on certain things like that will help you to enhance your meditation, right? So that is another way of getting into chitta prasadanam, right? Pleasantness of the mind. Then another O is there. O, by contemplating on enlightened sages who are free from desires and attachments, calm and tranquil by contemplating divine objects. This we all can do. I'm pretty sure this you all are doing. So this is where when people are in distress, they start reading about them. Who are these enlightened sages? It can be Buddha, it can be Krishna, it can be Shiva, it can be Jesus, it can be Swami. So there are different Swamis, right? Whom you think, I mean, whom are accepted as enlightened, Ramana Maharishi, right? So there are different Swamis who have done so many different phenomenal things. There are Buddha stories like that. Krishna stories are like that, right? So I'll give an example. So at a point where I was distressed, I started reading Mahabharata. Then I fell in love with that, right? So there are so much of people in that characters are there, so many things, right? So I don't feel hate for that. I don't feel good. Oh, basically you contemplate on that. At a class, I remember while I was attending as a student, when they asked, who is your favorite god, then I said Krishna, right? So that's why Krishna has a peacock feather also here. So I keep collecting peacock feathers, right? So if you see my background also, I have peacock feathers everywhere. I have peacock feathers right now at my home than an original peacock, right? So, so that's the level. So basically you focus on that in the sense, so you fall in love with it, right? Definitely, if you fall in love with Buddha, you will not be disappointed. Definitely, if you fall in love with Krishna, Shiva, any other sage, any sage in this world, Jaffna Kolambuture Yoga Swami, or his teacher Chellappa Swami, even them, right? Focusing on any of them or contemplating on any of them, never you will be disappointed, right? Only the pleasantness of the mind will come, right? We share Dhammapada stories, right? So only the pleasantness comes, right? Sometimes when you read one of them, I was like this, you feel like that, but then again, that's a good teaching, right? So focus on these sages. So that's why even when it comes to Ishvara Pranidhana, we talked about this, right, in previous sutras. Who is Ishvara? Who is God? What is God? God is a super consciousness. God is this nature, right? And for you to understand it, it's sculpted in a Shivalinga. It's sculpted in a Buddha statue, right? This is the nature. But for you to remind, statue is the one of the lowest layers to remind you this, right? So that's why contemplate on enlightened sages. Contemplate on enlightened sages includes you get to know their good qualities. So this is where the Sahasranama, 1,000 names of Shiva, 1,000 names of Krishna, 1,000 names of Ganesha. So why these 1,000 names are chanted? Because each name has a particular quality attached to it. Each name has a meaning, right? So for an example, Keshava. Keshava is a name for Krishna, meaning who has the nice hair, right? Thinking about Krishna's nice hair is much better. What happened? Yeah. Thinking about Krishna's nice hair is much better than thinking about anybody, any human person's nice hair. Because Krishna's nice hair is never become white. It's never brown. It's never tinted. It's beautiful, right? Even my hair is white here and there, right? So if I liked my hair 10 years back, right now I'm disappointed with my hair, right? So Krishna's hair is not like that, right? So Keshava is one name. So like that, you have like 1,000 names, 1,008 names for each of these deities. Even if you take Buddha, Itipiso Bhagava is a sermon which only talks about his different characteristics. You don't have to do anything when you go to a temple. Just keep reminding about the qualities of Lord Buddha, Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha, Lord Murugan, all these things, right? When you see a peacock, if the mind comes, if it comes to your mind as, okay, Lord Murugan has visited my house, how beautiful is that feeling? That is one feeling. On the other hand, one meaning can be, oh my God, the peacock has come and he's going to eat all the crops in the garden right now. So let's, put some stones and get rid of him, right? So what is the better feeling out of this? The Lord has come to your house, right? Would that give you happiness in your mind? Definitely yes. Or when the peacock comes, oh my God, a peacock has come, it will eat all the paddy. We will not have paddy. So the paddy is very expensive, rice is expensive. Now this time our crop is gone. That gives hatred. So contemplate on the sage. If you keep contemplating on the enlightened sages, everywhere, wherever you see anything and everything, you can relate to their qualities. When you are in distress, you can always think, what would he done? What he would have done? So that's why you have stories about all these sages. That's why you need to learn about all these stories about the sages. because it gives you examples of how they dealt with situations. So you can always go back and see, it's like a manual. In this situation, how would he react? So let me react on the same way. Because that is a proven example, the way he reacted has only led to good or a pleasant situation, not a bad situation. But that journey may be a little bitter, right? But there's a lived example, and that has been prevailed in this world so long, meaning that could have some truth out of it. Better you do it, right? So contemplating on enlightened sages who are free from desires and attachments. Read every single word in these 2 lines very carefully. By contemplating on enlightened sages who are free from desires and attachments. Enlightened sage is devoid of desires and attachments. He is calm and tranquil, or by contemplating on divine objects. So if you don't have a particular sage to be taught, so that's why we wear Rudraksha. So that is a, what do you call, a divine object. So people use Sanghu here and there, and then you have different divine objects. Chalingraham is there, the Navaguna Vala, that is now one more thing, and the Karandua in Buddhist tradition, and in Hindu tradition, there are different things, right? So, what the ring that they make out of Kusatana, right? So all these things, so all these are divine objects, right? So looking at those things will only bring happiness to your mind, right? Even when you are even angry, right? When you are angry and driving, but when you are passing a temple, you feel like getting up from the seat a little bit and sit now. Even if you are angry, right? Even if you're angry and scolding somebody, if somebody bring Shiva or Ganesha or somebody's picture, you will, like, at least wait till that picture goes away to keep scolding, right? But you will take a break there, right? So that's the power of it. That's the power of contemplating on an enlightened sage. Meaning, imagine whatever the situation your head is running, when this thing comes in front of you, it stops. How powerful it is. It's not a small thing, right? This mind has million, trillion, billion, million, billion, trillions of thoughts running in. And those are categorized into different areas. Everything comes to a halt and come to one particular feeling when you contemplate on a sage. How that happening? Right? So that's how powerful it is. So these are powerful techniques, right? So that's why sometimes when people are in sorrow or distress, they go to the Kovil or the temple and say, this place feels so good. Why? Because when you go to that place, those thoughts come to your head, and then what happens? Your prashvasa, what happens? Your exhalation. Exhalation becomes slow. Exhalation becomes slow, you feel calm. Right? When we do Kapalabhati, we say to energize. When we do Dirgha Swasa, we say to relax. Right? When you do a Yoga Nidra, you inhale long, exhale long. Right? So that will give you so much of happiness. So that's why I say, before even a class that we start, you need to chant the Omkara with me. Exhale and you need to chant the Omkara, right? Before you go to sleep. So today, so much of work, tomorrow, so much of meetings, tomorrow evening, I have to attend to this function, that function, so many things are there. So I'm going to go to sleep right now. So in your sleep, all these thoughts will come in your subconscious and kill you. It will not even make you get a good sleep. Even though you are sleeping, you are not even enjoying that sleep, right? So what you need to do, before you go to sleep, sit in a meditative posture, inhale and exhale. If you want to really count, so you inhale to 10, exhale 12. Inhale 10, exhale 12. Then after some time, inhale 12, exhale 14. Likewise, bring your exhalation as much as long as possible. Then you will realize, yeah, so tomorrow is a day. Let's wake up in the morning and see how it goes. Right? Why you are killing yourself right now? Right? So that's how the this thing happens. So basically, even today, my day starts with a yoga class, ends with a yoga class. In between, I have work, right? And in work, you have so much of this thing, that thing, new things coming up. You have a to-do list. Nothing in the to-do list may be done because different new things are coming up. Tomorrow we have to plan. Day after you have to plan. Weekend I have certain plans. All these things are there. But why you are killing yourself right now? Right? So this is where, when you are running so much, you take the statue and focus on this, right? So you take a divine object. Always, if you're having some divine object in your hand, in your neck, somewhere, always when something is happening, just have a look at it. You will not feel bad, you will not feel angry, and you will remember, oh, okay, this is Rudraksha, Shiva's tears. Shiva, how would have he handled this situation? He would have stayed silent and not care about anything. Okay, I'll be the same, right? So that's how powerful it is. This particular line for me personally, 37th Sutra, I really have experienced this, right? So you must understand this properly. If you haven't done this, start practicing. Bring some pictures of some sages that you respected, liked, that you like to see early in the morning, and paste it in your room, right? For me, the yoga mat is a divine object, right? So that's why on the very first day of the yoga classes, I told people, arrange your place and name it as your happy place. You have to have the yoga mat on the floor, not rolled up and somewhere else. So you have to have the yoga mat, maybe an incense stick or something, maybe a statue or something. Whenever you sit down, you need to feel, see the exhalation, right? Good. This is my happy place, right? So you have to have that conducive environment. Otherwise, guys, just living like this as, as just as living organisms doesn't make any sense given a human brain and a human mind, right? So let anybody tell anything about you, let anybody judge anyway, but your environment, you have to have a conducive environment. It's really, really important, right? So please make a note of this particular sutra. Contemplating, so chitta prasadanam, presentness in the mind can be taken through contemplating on enlightened sages who are free from desires and attachments, calm and tranquil, or by contemplating on divine objects. So something came to my mind again. I said, when you are in a place where you can't make a decision, you need to go back and see how they would have done it, right? Why am I saying whatever the decision that they took and the way they acted is right? Because they are free from desires and attachments and calm and tranquil people. The people who are free from desires and attachments will always take a correct decision. They will always do the right thing to the world. They will not do things for themselves. They will do the right thing to the world, to the nature. So contemplating on enlightened sages. And guys, I'm telling you, spending to make this particular environment, how much it is, that's an investment. Right? We buy a car thinking what is the resale value. We buy this one thinking what is the resale value. Can I sell it? Can I get rid of this one day? Right? No. These things, this has to be there with your life. This is part of your life. This is part of your environment. Right? Just like the air cannot be put with a price. Right? These things cannot be put with a price. Right? So you need to understand who are the sages that I like. Let me see him all over the place, no problem. In my vehicle, in my this place, even in my vehicle, when I sit down, the first thing I see is two things, actually a statue and again a feather, right? Anywhere. So even when I'm driving, when I feel tired, Also, always what I see is that, right? So, yeah. Somewhere I put a bookmark. Ah, yeah. So I put a bookmark. This is also a feather, tiny little one, right? So this book is the size of an exercise book, right? And this is the bookmark, right? So, I mean, it's up to you to design your world. It's up to you to design your world in the way you want and how your mind need to be organized. But Patanjali says, if you contemplate on enlightened sages who are free from desires and attachments, calm and tranquil, or divine objects, your mind will be, pleasant. That is one way to bring pleasantness to your mind. When I saw the bookmark, each and everybody who has put the cameras were smiling. What is that? It's a sign of pleasantness in your mind, right? Good. 37. Then, or by recollecting and contemplating the experiences of dream-filled or dreamless sleep during a watchful or wakeful state. So you have different chitta states. Unconscious mind is there. Then subconscious is, so unconscious is, you see people in the hospital who are unconscious, right? Mind is not operating, mind is not there, unconscious, consciousness is not there, but the heart is beating, right? So just living. Subconscious, this is where when you sleep, you get dreams, right? Conscious is the state that we need to come through dhyana. Superconscious is the samadhi state, right? So by recollecting and contemplating the experience of dream-filled sleep, so you recollect and contemplate on a particular state of sleep. Okay, you had a dream. So this also will try to bring the mind to pointedness. When you sometimes wake up, you will feel, oh my God, I woke up. I don't know where I was and everything. So that is a dreamless state. Thinking about that will bring you pleasantness in your mind. Or the watchful, wakeful state, meaning right now I am here. So you are fully aware about the air, what you hear, what you feel, mind is processing, your whole environment, where your foot is touching the floor, you're on a chair, everything. So be in that wakeful state. That will also help you bring the pleasantness in your mind. Then, or by meditating on any desired object conducive to steadiness of consciousness, right? Meditate upon so this is the Kasina Bhavana in Buddhism, right? Meditate on a particular object which will help you to bring the steadiness in the mind, will also help you bring the happiness or the pleasantness in your mind, right? Don't worry, certain places I take so much of time, certain places I don't take time at all, right? Don't worry about that. Then, Paramanu, Paramama Mahatvantaha Asya Vashikaraha. Paramanu, you know what is Paramanu? That is the atom, the infinitesimal particle, the tiniest particle. Then Parama Mahatvantaha, meaning most excellent or highest, best, biggest kind of meaning. Asya, of this. Vashikara, bringing into subjugation or having mastery over passions. Don't worry about these words. So what it means is, by following the various alternative methods of contemplation described above, the sadhaka develops the power to penetrate from the most infinitesimal particles to infinity. From atom to infinity, you can go by following any of the methods mentioned above, right? What are those methods? We talked about meditating or contemplating upon a sage, contemplating on your breath, contemplating on a dream or dreamless state or the wakeful state. So all these things will help you bring your mind to a level where you can explore from atom to infinity. Right? Good. So here's something interesting. So whatever we have described so far is here as a small summary, which means, so number 33 of the sutra, it talks about cultivating appropriate attitudes. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, that is that. So that is described in Patanjali's eight-limbed yoga as yama, meaning behavior or character. What is character? Silam. What is silam? In Buddhism, there are pansil, atasil, dasasil, meaning I will not kill animals, I will not lie, I will not steal, I will not drink, I will not behave in a inappropriate manner with somebody else. Right? So these are basically the characters that you need to bring, behavioral factors that you need to bring. So that is what was identified or mentioned through the 33rd Sutra, the Metta, Karuna, Mudita part of it, right? Then the organs of actions, karmendriyas, hands, mouth, excretion. Remember, we had 5 karmendriyas, right? These are the karmendriyas. See, this is the karmendriyas. Speech, hands, feet, excretion, reproduction, right? So learn how to control this and learn how to use it in a proper way. That is what you mean as yama and niyama, right? Go back. Then organs of perception, jnanendriyas, right? And the manas. So basically the 33rd sutra, as we explained above, it tells, make a different person out of you, right? Make your behavior change, make your character a different person. Use the karmendriyas, organs of action, for betterment. Use the jnanendriyas, perception, right? Right perception, wrong perception, illusory perception, right? How to bring the organs of perception right? Through reading, knowledge, wisdom. Then the mind. How to bring the mind to a halt or how to bring the mind under control is through yoga asana, right? Body and mind bring to a steadiness. So that can be done through yoga asana. Then breath control. Remember, we talked about exhalation, steady, soft exhalation. That is what Patanjali means as through the pranayama practices. If you have mastered pranayama very well, you should be able to inhale through like 36 seconds and then exhale through like 45 seconds. Long exhalation, right? Then absorption in an object, senses of perception in mind, pratyahara, right? Contemplation of light. Remember the lights which doesn't have happiness or sadness or raga or dvesha. That is through basically contemplation on light, that is the mind, right? Then contemplation of sages, dharana, right? So dharana is basically you see yourself, or you actually try to see yourself in them, or you see them in yourself. How would they do it? How would they behave in this? How would they perceive this particular thing, what I'm seeing, right? So these all are called objective meditation. Objective meditation, or we call it rupavachara, cognitive, right? Second one, it's called subjective meditation, right? So recollection of dreams and sleep. So this is a particular thing which we are taking out and now again thinking about it, contemplating on it, right? Then meditation on any desired object, right? So dhyana, antakarana, the soul level. So this is a little big, but don't worry, right? That's okay. So that is our lesson for today. So we are at 40th sutra, right? We have about 14 sutras or 10 sutras more, I guess, right? So good thing is we will finish it very soon. 49. Oh, yeah, we have 51 sutras. So 11 sutras more. right? So I will complete it by next week. So when we complete this, what you should be doing is actually by learning Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you are not going to get a BSc or some credentials after your name, or you can't use yourself as an expert in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. No, you are not going to get any certificate, right? The certificate or the credential, what you get to yourself is unless you practice this, right? So first of all, the most important thing is in your life, wherever you are staying, wherever the place that you stay the most, you need to create a conducive environment of yourself, for yourself. Your place of yoga has to be a place, that when you sit down, it can't give you pressures. Right? If so many things are happening in front of the place that you are doing yoga, you will not want to go and sit there. You will hate to sit there. So many things are happening, right? So you need to find a place for your all this learning. You have to find a place, and that place has to be conducive of certain things, right? And where your yoga place has to be like that. Early morning when you wake up, and where the place that you drink your tea has to be a calmful place. If it's in front of the if it's in front of the TV early morning, right? That's not going to work, right? TV, radio, all these things are external objects which pumps thoughts to you, right? If you don't switch on the TV, your day will be on. Good. If you switch on the TV, your day will be messed up. Why? How come that happens? Right? You should not let that happen, right? So your environment, where you are living, even the place that you're sitting, the height of the chair, right? The shoes that you are wearing, the color that you are wearing. If you see me, if you see myself, I am more or less, mostly I'm in blue. There are people who know me 10 years back as well. If you recall, even to my office, those days I used to wear blue, right? So blue is a color of the peacock god. Okay, so so be careful, right? So what I'm saying is, you have to be like that. Otherwise, you can't follow the fashions in the world. You can follow, no problem, but your mind will, today it's in this season, it's about this. This season, it's about this. This season is, and suddenly you will die. You will come again, you will go like that, go like that. Otherwise, isn't it good to have it like one pointedness? Yeah, let the season come and go. Let the season come and go. So not affected. Life is very simple. Your needs will be very limited. You will be able to live with limited amount of things, right? So, and you will be full-time happy. What sort of a life it would be if you're living with minimum needs and wants, and you are so happy with that? That's how the sages lived. That's why any sage, if you see, either they are in the yellow robe or they will wear the minimum clothes. See, any sage, they are like wearing an underwear. That's all. We're not bothered. Object of the cloth is to just close the places which will bring shame to others or shame to yourself, right? Just close it and stay there. And you're fine with it. Some people wear white in their entire life. Nobody is going to criticize wearing white to people. And there are no shades of white. There's only one white. If it's a shade of white, which means a dirty white. Any shade of white is a dirty white, right? So arrange the life in such a way. It's easier, right? So the lifestyle, how you arrange it, what your environment will define what you think, what you talk, what you do. So if these two things are in line, right? So you have a particular sage statue, you see that, and you live like him. Life will be very, very simple, and mind will be always happy, right? So that's the lesson today. All right. So there are more nice things coming up in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. It's a beautiful journey. I always say it's a very, very nice journey. So we are going to talk about the Nama Rupa in the next one. So it's a very beautiful journey. That's why I teach it. If it's a boring journey, I will not teach it, right? Because it's boring. So just go through the video again, and I will share the slides. Just go through the slides also again, and pick one sutra that you like, right? And have it in a place that you can always read. That is also good, right? You can contemplate on Patanjali, no problem. So, and that is one way how you learn as well. So when you have that, you will start having questions about it. Then you will want to go into detail. Then you will question it. Then you will read the other sutras as well, right? That is important. Okay. So with this, we will close the session. And after the session, if you have any questions, we will discuss, right?